Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Let's Not Talk About the Husband, who happens to be sitting right here. Are we going to talk about me?
Maybe. Yeah, I got some questions. I asked people on my Instagram yesterday to give me some questions.
Okay, well, we'll get to those in a minute.
So I've got 5 of them.
Yeah, you got 5 questions?
I do.
Really?
Because we have 5 listeners.
We're going to shoot for 6 next week, okay? So anyway, so what's been going on? Let's talk about it because you had quite a week.
I did.
You took the dog for a walk, and what happened?
Well, I take the dog for a walk up and down the street in the morning.
Because she's a big dog, and you know we have a lot of trails around our house that we go hiking on, but our dog, who's Rocky's female, even though she's got kind of a male name, I don't know, Rocky's,
she's a Rottweiler, 100 pounds.
She's a big Rottweiler, and she can't really make it on these long hikes. I mean, the big dogs like that, they don't have the stamina that we have.
Well, she doesn't.
She doesn't.
She
and
doesn't.
Most big. How many times have you seen a big Rottweiler on that trail? Not that many.
Maybe twice, but yeah not that many.
Because the little dogs, they can make it, but the big dogs, they'll like we'd get out on the trail with her. We'd get halfway up the mountain, and she would just sit down.
They sit in the shade and pant.
And she would say, "Carry me." And she's 110 pounds. I'm not going to carry the dog.
Well, she's not 110. She's 100.
Whatever she is, she's enough. She's heavy enough. And so you take her on a short walk every morning. And what happened?
Well, this has never happened before. We're walking along, and I don't know how this happened, but her leash got wrapped around. She somehow got wrapped around my legs. The next thing I know, my feet are out from under me. I'm like, I'm going to fall, like I'm in the air. And so I put my hand down, I hit my knee, and I ended up on my head, on my forehead, on the pavement. Not cute sidewalk, pavement.
And you came home, and I had sympathy pains all over me.
I know, but the good news is our neighbor drove up at the exact time because I got up and then all of a sudden blood is running down my face and my eye. And I don't know if I've ripped it open. And luckily he had Kleenex in his car. So I'm holding the Kleenex, but I don't know how bad it is. And I don't know if I have a concussion, and I don't really know how badly I've hurt myself. And finally, I said, I think I better get out of the street because I'm literally sitting in the street. So he gets me up, and then I walk home, and then you see me with blood.
Oh, you were in bad shape. Yeah, no, you had a big hematoma on your, like a big bump up here. Let's see it. I haven't seen it today.
Better today.
Oh, it's much better.
I covered it. It's much better today. I finally went to see the dermatologist just to check it. And she said it's a hematoma that doesn't need to be drained. It could have needed to be drained.
Wow.
So anyway, lucked out there. Didn't have to go to the hospital. She looked at me and she was like, you could have broken your eye socket. You could have done so much worse.
Yeah, but you put your hand out too to break the fall,
right? I
right?
put my hand out, which look at it, it's already almost healed. Hand, knee, head.
Yeah.
So I guess some of my Melrose Place stunt work came in.
Oh, were you a stunt person on Melrose Place? I didn't know that. You did your own stunts?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, came in handy.
So anyway, you're healing up. You're a lot better today. When you take the dog for a walk now, you're not going to let her wrap the leash around your legs.
I'm taking a break right now.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of PTSD from that.
Oh.
So I'm not taking her for a walk right now.
Okay. Could that attribute to your lack of sleep these last couple of days?
Yeah.
Because you said you were feeling a little crunchy today.
I'm a little crunchy today. I think since Monday or Sunday, there's been something in the atmosphere. So I think we're heading towards retrograde. Something's going on because...
Atmospheric insomnia.
Well, the planets, something's lined up. Something.
Okay.
I'm very sensitive because I'm a Cancer.
Okay, so like some planet might be in retrograde or something like that?
Yes, for sure. Like it's been a little bit of a funky week.
Well, yeah, I didn't get much sleep last night either. And then I had to get up like at the crack of dawn to go down to the big convention center in Anaheim because we have our booth.
Yeah, tell the people.
Well, Harry's famous. We had a booth at the Natural Food Expo, the Expo West, which is huge, by the way, at the Anaheim Convention Center. It takes over like every possible space at the convention center.
What a strange world that we know nothing about.
I know.
That all of a sudden you're thrust into.
All of a sudden, here I am in the world of natural food retail.
Like, what the fuck?
Taking my sauce.
Like, what the fuck?
Sauce is plural there. And we had him out. And first we met with Kroger early in the morning, day before yesterday. And they gave us exactly 7 minutes to
do your pitch?
It was like a cattle call, when we were kids and getting into the acting world, so there's all these people standing out in the hallway and they said, okay, group number 3, we were group number 3. You had to walk in, you had to give your pitch. You had 5 minutes to give the pitch and then 2 minutes for them to ask questions. And it was crazy because you ran in there and you were out of there. At 6.5 minutes, you were out.
Wow.
So I have no idea how we did.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Do you get feedback?
No, you don't get any feedback at all. Either they call you up and say, we want you to be in the store or not. So it's a...
Well, I remember I ran into Chrissy Teigen at an event. And she had asked me about your sauce and how it was doing. And she said, are they going to trade shows? And I said, I think they are. One's coming up. Yeah. And she was like, they have to go to trade shows.
You got to do it.
Like, you have to do it. And
but we were late getting to the game because we came out just before Christmas. So it just got started. We were just learning about the whole trade show thing and all that. So we didn't actually even try to get into this trade show until New Year's Day. And so there were only like 4 slots left. So where we were was not the best spot in the place, but it was right near the entrance and everybody had to walk by us when they came by our booth. And we had a great response. There was one guy yesterday who came in the morning and he tried our sauce and then he went all through the whole thing and he came back at 5 p.m. and he said, oh my God, I've tried so many sauces today and yours is by far the best sauce. And then he just started screaming there. He said, everybody, don't try anything else. Just try, this is the only sauce worth tasting in the whole place.
You need to hire him.
I know.
Hire him. Put him on your payroll.
I know.
Sheesh.
We need that guy with us wherever we go. So I think we're going to get a good reception. I think a lot of people came by. We talked to a few retailers, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get investors and retailers at the same time.
This is an interesting ride, and I think the people will be fascinated to go on this journey because with you, it's new. It's like,
this is definitely
you're a
not
freaking actor,
I know,
and you're in the food business. Like,
I know, it's
what?
So weird. I know, but the good news is that my niece Renee is awesome. As a manager, as an operator. She's on
the cooking show with you.
She's on the cooking show with me.
Just so that people know what we're talking about.
In the Kitchen with Harry Hamlin on AMC Plus.
Season 2.
Season 2.
Did you ever think you were going to have a cooking show?
Oh my God,
did you ever think you were going to be the food business?
I never thought I was going to. Thanks to your show and them coming to me and asking me to cook lunch for the girls one day, had I not been
because
so
you're
cheap,
too cheap to throw a party.
Well, to hire a caterer, I thought, well, I'll cook it myself. Why not?
That's what people don't know. They don't know that you have to throw your own parties on Housewives.
That's right.
You throw your own party.
That's right.
You're paying for your. Well, you pay for all of your own shit on that
everything.
show.
You're paying for your wardrobe. You're paying for your makeup and hair. You're paying for your parties, everything you do. They do give you a ride from time to time, don't they?
Well, they help out from time to time, but I wouldn't say that really makes any difference whatsoever. That's why, you get the people that have like stupid money to come on the show and have them throw the parties.
Yeah, a lot of those people have stupid money.
Money, and so
we have intelligent money, right?
Well,
which is less money. Is that?
I'm sure I would call it intelligent money. I would I would really like to have stupid money. I just don't have it, but I wouldn't be opposed to like having. I actually wouldn't be opposed to even like having a sugar daddy.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Rewind that. So, wait a minute. You're married to me, but you're not opposed to a sugar daddy?
Well,
that's like somebody who's going to come in and pay for everything, but not require you to give services?
No, you have to give services, I think. But I I wouldn't mind, like in another life, I don't think it's horrible if you just marry for money.
Well, I think that goes on a lot.
It doesn't really
right?
last, but I think the idea of it, like to have stupid money for a little while, I don't think it would be bad for me. I think it would actually be really good because here's what I'm working on. You know, I work very hard. We work hard at what we do, right?
Well, that's true. We have to.
We have to,
choice.
but I'm working on not trying to control it so much and trying to push so hard.
I mean, the old square peg into the round hole routine.
I'm trying to just like let go, let God, let the universe, because I'm always like.
Well, you're a hustler, so yeah, you're going to do that.
I am going to do it, but imagine, I have these thoughts of like, what if I just for a minute had a huge sugar daddy or a husband who was like a billionaire? What would that be like? It'd be kind of fun for a minute. For a
minute, you'd go shopping and you have all this stuff, and then you go, now I've got all this stuff, I need more stuff. And when you have so much, then the idea of more just is kind of a constant thing that's bugging you all. I need more. I need more. Yeah, I got $1 billion. I need $2 billion. You know, I'm a billionaire. I need to be a trillionaire.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's happened to all of our friends.
Learjet. No, I don't want a Learjet. I want like a global or whatever they're called, you know, like a
Global Express.
Whatever it is.
I love that idea.
A bigger jet, a bigger helicopter, a bigger car. No. So what we're doing, I know we're doing this because you're all on the ride with me. We're kind of cutting back and cutting down, and it's kind of, I mean, at this point.
Well, I mean, it's I think you have to at this point because
the kids are gone. We've got this house, and you know, are we going to downsize at some point? Are we going to stay there? I don't know. These are all questions we haven't even asked yet.
Well, I do like the idea of moving to Paris.
Oh,
I do like that idea.
Paris, yeah. Paris, huh?
I like that idea. For a while there, remember we were talking about, I think this was around the election, you could literally go on a cruise for 4 years.
Well, that's true. There was the 4 year.
And you just travel around for 4 years on a cruise. I kind of like that idea, but though I don't like boats that much.
Well, you would be sick of boats. You definitely, after 4 years of being on the same boat, going from city to city, from town to town.
Hey, how about there's somebody who literally just died on a boat? Like this couple, he's like a rock star, and he somehow lost his wife on the boat. Like what? How do you fall
maybe she found
off,
a sugar daddy.
Well, maybe, but how do you fall off a cruise ship? Or do you get
pushed? I've heard of a cruise ship, of people falling off of cruise ships.
Somebody's rocker wife fell off a cruise ship and died, which is terrible.
But when you fall off a cruise ship, they never find you, right? I mean,
that's my question. Like, do they find the body? How do they know? Was she taking a selfie? Did somebody push her? You know,
I don't know. It sounds to me like it could be a 2020 or one of those murder shows that you like to watch so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot that happened all in 1 week.
This episode is brought to you by No CD. Our daughter Delilah has OCD, and I can tell you OCD is not what most people think. That stereotype about liking things organized has it totally wrong. Real OCD involves thoughts you can't stop, don't want, and often feel ashamed or scared to be thinking. Like, what if I don't really love my partner, when that thought feels out of sync with how you actually feel? Or, what if I snap and do something horrible, even though that's the last thing you'd ever want to do? Then your brain tells you to do something about those thoughts, just to feel okay. But no matter what you try, the relief never lasts. OCD is a lot more common, a lot more serious than most people realize. We saw this up close when Delilah started showing signs of the condition. But here's why we felt hopeful, and why you can too. OCD is very treatable with the right kind of therapy. Standard talk therapy, the kind you hear a lot about online, usually doesn't help OCD. In fact, it often makes it worse. OCD needs specialized treatment, and that's why I want to tell you about No CD. No CD is the world's largest OCD treatment provider, and they're not your average virtual therapy platform. It's specifically designed for people with OCD, and all of their therapists are trained in ERP therapy, which is proven to be the most effective treatment for OCD. No CD makes treatment accessible with insurance coverage for over 155 million Americans and provides support between your sessions, so you're never alone. If any of this sounds familiar, go to nocd.com and book a free call to learn how they can help. That's nocd.com.
And I got sent to me a huge box from Slim Jims.
I saw this. I looked at it. You said last night when I came in, I was too tired to look at this box. There's a box outside. It's this huge box. And what's in it? Nothing
Slim
but
Jims.
Slim Jims.
Because you brought it up on the show.
I know.
So bring up whatever you want to manifest here, honey, because I got this huge box of Slim Jims. Thank you, Slim Jims.
What's one of your favorite brands? It's not food. Like, are we talking like Chanel?
Cartier.
Cartier. She loves Cartier. Tiffany's. Well, yeah, okay.
Baccarat.
But now we got Slim Jims. We got Slim Jims forever.
Huge box of
Thank
Slim
you, by the way,
Jims.
to the Slim Jim folks.
Thank you, Slim Jims.
It'll keep my wife in Slim Jims for some time.
I love a Slim Jim. It's like the perfect snack. It really is.
Really?
It's perfect. I can't ever imagine you eating one.
I've never eaten a Slim Jim.
That's another thing. Our diets are pretty different.
Well, I mean, you had ding dongs at the house, and
I'm gonna get a box of ding dongs
what about,
now. My favorite was always, I think, the cupcake. You know, my mom used to give me a Hostess.
The one with the little squiggle on the top?
My mom, God love her, she made my lunches. I always had a package of Hostess, either a Twinkie, ding dong, Snowball, Suzy Q. Actually, I think the Suzy Q is maybe.
Did you have a little green
my
Jello
favorite.
thing in your lunch too?
No, Jello was only reserved for the evening meal. My mom never served salad. Salad for me was Jello.
Was green Jello?
Well, different colors. Red, orange, green with like bananas and mandarin oranges. That was my salad.
Is this before dinner or after dinner?
With dinner.
With dinner.
With dinner. So, you know, I'm of the TV dinner, Salisbury steak era. You know,
do you have one of those little trays that you sat in front of the TV with a little tray?
Oh, yes,
and
TV trays.
Then the thing that came with the Salisbury steak and a little bit of mashed potato next to it.
And I would only
and
get those
peas.
when they would go out. Like when they went out, I got a TV dinner. And
I did that too.
I used to like that apple pie that was in there. In the TV dinner.
Was like the McDonald's apple pie kind of thing?
Kind of. In the TV dinner.
I remember that. You know, there used to be there was a company called Chicken Delight when I was a kid, and you could call them up. And
we didn't have that in Medford. But.
Yeah, you get a little piece of chicken and some pie and stuff like that. Yeah. Ooh,
anyway, my mom, God love her, I don't think I ever had lettuce until I was 18.
Oh.
I'm not kidding. Jello. Salad. I thought that was salad.
Yuck. Anyway.
And then for lunch, I would have my Hostess Twinkie, Ding Dong, Suzy Q, or Snowball. Do you know what the Snowball is? I've asked you that before.
I have no idea what a Snowball is.
Pink, coconut, marshmallow with the cupcake inside. Delish. So now we're going to get a huge box of everything from Hostess.
This is all Hostess.
That's
right?
Hostess,
yeah. No, not in my food chain, guys. But
No, you're making food without preservatives, all natural, which is a very cool thing.
That's right. There's only 7 ingredients in this. Really only 6, but we had to put a little water in it to make it not quite as thick.
I think that's pretty cool, especially coming from somebody who's so fucking processed. My blood must just, if you tested it, it would say processed.
Processed blood, okay.
I mean, seriously.
Well, here
it has
are the
to
ingredients.
Counteract it.
The ingredients here are crushed tomatoes, red wine, tomato paste, water, honey, extra virgin olive oil, garlic, and organic rosemary. All of which you can buy at the store, everybody. You can go to the store and get that, and I'll teach you how to cook it. You know, it's
but
real
it's
easy.
easier to buy your sauce and just heat it up.
Well, that's true. It'd be easier, quicker to just buy it at the store. But the recipe is right here on how to make it.
And everybody's asked, so go get yourself a bottle, and then you can just make it.
Yeah, there it is. Or you can make it at home.
Where do you get it? On your website and on Amazon?
You get it on Amazon and
harrysfamous.com.
And harrysfamous.com. That's right. And soon, you never know.
In a store near you.
Yeah, hopefully
soon.
Whole Foods.
What other stores do you like? Name them. Name them right here.
Well, I mean, look.
Do you like Erewhon?
We love Erewhon.
Erewhon would be great.
Love Erewhon, love Whole Foods, like Sprouts, all those. And then, hey, at some point, it's going to be Costco and Walmart and all those stores to Target. All that. Yeah.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Then maybe you'll be my billionaire husband. And then we can figure that out. Then you could be my sugar daddy. I'll just pretend you're my sugar daddy. How about that?
I just have to get rich first and then I can be your sugar daddy?
Correct.
And you'll give services?
Sure.
Services? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. All right. I'm all for it. I'm going to get really rich now.
Let's role play. You become a billionaire and I will become your sugar baby.
I love it. Okay. Well, we're well on the way now. I mean, look, if fusion energy works, if this works, if this works, I mean, who knows? You never know. Could be billions and billions. Yeah.
I like it.
You'd like to be able to shop with impunity, would you?
That's my goal. It's true.
I
yes, I'm that shallow.
But we have to get a new house.
I'm that shallow. I would love to shop with impunity. I wonder what that would look like, though, if I could shop with impunity.
We'd have to get a new house. We have to get new closets. We have to get new closet space. We don't have anything left. Everything's full.
I would have so much fucking fun. I really would.
I bet you
I would have so much fun.
And I can conceive of nothing my life that I could do that would give me quite that much fun.
No, nothing?
I'm trying to think what it is. I mean, do I have any aspirational things like that? And I don't really, I mean, I like climbing mountains. That's fun for me. But I can't think of buying. There's not a thing I could buy that I would go, oh boy, now I own that. Oh boy, I'm better off or whatever.
Yeah, but you're a boy. I think boys just innately don't swing like that.
No, that's true. Because when we had our retail stores, which was another thing, it was all women. I mean, and we tried to have some men's clothes for a second.
Yeah.
No men would ever.
Nobody cared.
We tried to have gifts and nobody cared.
No one cared.
They just wanted tops
didn't care.
And pants and jeans and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, so we're not, maybe, you never know, we could restart that whole clothing thing.
I know.
Possible.
Listen,
right?
I think businesses are cyclical. I've decided and I've learned.
Okay.
Like a lot of them have their own timing and they go.
So what's now?
For as long as they're supposed to, and then they can circle back around. So I think that there is something to say about another clothing thing.
So another maybe Lisa Rinna collection. Maybe it's going to come back to life, rise out of the ashes like a phoenix.
Something different. It wouldn't. I would rename it into something else, but I feel like that could happen. I do.
Well, it should happen because your style is so amazing.
So much.
You love clothes. It would give you another excuse to shop, but also your editorial eye is amazing when it comes to clothes. This I know. I mean, even though I'm not a clothes guy at all, what I am aware of is how amazing you are at editing clothing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think you're well known for that as well.
Well, I feel like it's coming around. I feel it like kind of knocking at the door. So rather than push it and make it happen, I'm allowing it. Okay, enough of that. I have some questions that I asked my Instagrammers to call in or DM me.
Oh, that's right. You have these
and I only
questions.
have 5 of them, but let's just read them and see. This is Ian from UK. Loved you for years, Lisa, and enjoying podcast. Question: will you return to RHOBH? The show needs you, Lisa. It's awful. Continued success and best with the podcast.
Of course someone's going to say that. Okay. Well, you were, in my estimation, you were a goat on that show. And you're not being on it. Look, a lot of people have come up to me and said, oh, the show just doesn't have that spark, that same Lisa Rinna thing going on anymore. So I know we've talked about this a lot, but you wouldn't go back, would you? No. Even if a Brinks truck, rolled up to the back of the house?
Well, I mean, if a billionaire sugar daddy came along and said, you have to do Housewives and I will pay you
X amount of dollars.
$25 million, I would say, okay, fine. Sure.
So it's all about the money for you. Okay.
A lot of times, but it would have to be so much.
Yeah. Well, look, I know too. But I was there during that 8 years.
Yeah.
I was with you the whole way. I know what it took out of you. I know what it gave you. I know what it took away. And knowing that, I would not in any way endorse your going back to that show. Even if the Brinks truck moved up
there you have it, people, right there.
Yeah.
The burning question that you've wanted to always find out about is Harry Hamlin says no.
Yeah,
He says no.
look, it took a lot out of you, out of me, out of everything. Didn't give you back as much as it took away. Put it that way. So it was, yeah, you didn't come out with in ahead, if you ask me. In some ways, you did. In terms of your profile and all of that, but emotionally, it was a negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Anyway, there's that one. Okay. The next one. Okay. She's not telling us her name. I'm pregnant right now, so I would love to hear about your pregnancies and deliveries with the girls and maybe early years of parenting, the challenges, the beauty, etc. Love you and the podcast. This is a good question.
Well, what I remember about the pregnancy, the thing that stands out the most for me is the moment when you came home from Melrose Place with the Polaroids of your, naked pregnancy, and you decided to call up Hefner and you wanted to do Playboy. That was a big moment. That was like month 6 or something like that.
6.5.
Did you get morning
6.
sickness? Were you sick?
I was the first 3 months, yeah.
You were? I don't really remember
that.
But
no throwing up. So a little morning sickness for the first 3 months, and then the minute you're like 3 months, gone.
Okay. So then you did Playboy. So I'm not sure if I recommend doing Playboy the way she did when you were 6 months pregnant.
I would probably not do pregnant Playboy, but I did it.
No one has ever done that before or since,
that's right.
by the way.
But the Polaroids came because Hefner wanted to see what I looked like pregnant. So we had to take Polaroids because there was no cell phone at that point. There was nothing. So we went into my trailer that had this really nice wood paneling
from
on
the 70s
walls. And so it made the lighting look really good. So when my publicist had called and said, what about Lisa doing Playboy pregnant? Hefner said, well, I need to see what she looks like pregnant. Yeah. And so we went in my dressing room, and I think I told this story, but I don't remember. I can't remember what we talked about on this podcast,
I think you
by
did.
the way.
So you did. So
anyway,
which is a little bit redundant.
Yeah.
But the question is about your pregnancy and that we've already talked about it a little bit on this show. But as far as the deliveries go, we talked about the fact that I delivered the babies.
And the deliveries were fine, except for Delilah's was 24 hours long. I tried to do it naturally. I went for 15 and a half hours, and then my girlfriend got me on the phone and she said, you will not win an award. You do not get anything for doing this. Take the drugs. Take the drugs.
I know.
And take the drugs.
Take the drugs.
Take the drugs. And you know what? I was going through the photo albums the other day. There's a photo. I think you remember it. Delilah's head coming out of my vagina.
I know. We have pictures of that. We have pictures of her coming out of your body.
Crazy. Her head is just outside of my vagina, and we have a picture of it. It's so wild. I don't know if she's seen it, but it's a really cool shot. But it's
when she becomes really, really
wild.
Famous, they always want a picture of you in your childhood. Just
right out of my VJ, my vajayjay, your head is popping up.
I don't think we're going to give that one out.
We can't really show it, but it's one of the coolest shots ever.
It's a pretty amazing. I remember we had the doula there, and she was taking pictures, black and white. Is it not that picture?
It's black. It's like sepia.
Or sepia, right?
My vagina is sepia. It's a sepia vagina.
So
with
anyway,
her head
just to reiterate, I delivered both of the kids. This is for your
for
excellency.
Our girl that's asking.
But let's talk about what happened afterwards. Let's talk about the postpartum, because that's something you need to know about.
Yeah. Okay, so nobody really tells you about postpartum. They don't.
No, they don't.
You really don't know. You've heard about it a little bit, but until it hits you fully, you have no idea. So make sure that you talk to your doctor about, what do I do if I start to feel blue? What do I do if I start to feel freaky? Because for me, it was rough.
Well, I know. You said at one point, Harry, this is with Delilah, put all the knives away.
I did.
Because, you thought you might
I had these
overboard.
Visions. You go kind of insane. I did.
I think kind of. You go
a bit insane.
I've had relatives who were institutionalized after having
in the 60s
babies.
because they didn't know what to do with them. So they put them in an institution.
They put them in the loony bin. Yeah.
I was having 2 visions. knives for anybody. Not my visions were not about hurting the baby. My visions were about hurting myself, you,
or me.
anybody.
I know.
So the two visions were stabbing with knives, or even just I needed to get the knives out of the house.
I know you didn't want them to be seen because we had knives on the
I had them
counter.
out. I needed them out.
You wanted them in the drawers. You wouldn't want to see them because you thought maybe you'd be inspired to kill.
Well, I don't know. I thought I would be insane. And then I had visions of driving into a brick wall.
What?
Just
driving yourself into a brick wall?
Into a brick wall.
To end it all.
I don't know.
I don't
Those are the
remember
visions.
this part, really.
Oh, yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Brooke Shields, who came out about her postpartum and spoke of it, I believe she said something to the same effect, that she had visions of driving into a brick wall. I have to look that up, but I think she's right. So there's this tweak that goes on. So I remember I didn't really catch it for 15 months with Delilah. You guys just all thought I had lost my mind. And, thank God my mom was here and you were here because nobody knew what was happening to me.
Nor did you.
Nor did I. So the second time around when we had Amelia, I was like, okay, I'm not going through this again. I'm going to call Howie Mandel.
Well, I remember we were going to the movies one night and we were standing outside the movie theater and you were like, you were about to lose it on me. And I said, wait a minute.
Call Howie.
Do you have Howie's number in your phone?
I called him. We were in Canada and he was like, okay, got to put you on an antidepressant right away. And he had he FedExed it to me. And he said, it's going to take like 3 weeks to work. And I thought, I fucking don't have 3 weeks.
Yeah. You were messed up. And then Tom Cruise came out not long after that saying, you can't take those drugs for postpartum or something. Wasn't he like
I think
way
he
against it?
said you can't take them in general.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sort of, but
they saved
your and my life too.
Saved me. And I am totally pro antidepressant. Let me tell you, because luckily I didn't have to stay on it that long. It reset I always said it reset my clock. It's like I was on it for about 3-4 months. And then I just thought.
Do you remember what it was called?
Seraphin.
Seraphin. Okay.
It was like a female version of Prozac, whatever that fucking means.
Wait, why would there be a female version?
I don't fucking know. Seraphin it was called with an S. It saved my life. It absolutely saved my life.
And Lexapro is something that a lot of the people are using today, and maybe some of the cast members on your show.
Oh my God!
Well, everybody except for you took an antidepressant during that.
During the show. A lot of people.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to name them. You just kind of called everybody out, but that's all right.
I just, I didn't name any names, but it's almost impossible to do that show.
I should have been on an antidepressant while I was doing that show. Looking back, I should have been.
Well, yeah.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but
you actually got through it really well. You always said, "Oh, this is tough, this is hard," but you got through it really well.
I was all right.
Yeah,
I was all right. I was all right.
So we just talked about your pregnancy. We talked about delivering the babies, and we talked about the postpartum.
Let's talk about this one story about raising the kids when they were little. Okay. I thought of this the other day. It's funny. Do you remember when Amelia was going through the phase where she was spitting? You know how kids bite? She was spitting.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She had a spitting phase.
Was this sort of an OCD spitting?
No, because she was only like 2 or 3.
Okay.
So she was just spitting.
And she was spit at people like in her school, nursery school, right?
Spitting at the kids. Yeah. And so I remember we were in the kitchen one day. Remember we had that drawer that they would pull out?
We had the toy drawer,
The toy drawer, and they would sit on the floor and they would pull it out, and we had like little toy pots and pans and things in it. So she's there playing, and then all of a sudden she gets up and she starts spitting at me. I lost it. And I was like, Amelia, girls don't spit. Boys spit. And if you keep spitting, you're going to grow a penis.
What?
That's what came out of my mouth. If you keep spitting, you're going to grow a penis.
Did she know what a penis was?
She looks at me like this. She was probably 3. She goes, she looks at me like that, and she never spit again.
Really?
She never spit again.
Oh, she didn't have penis envy then. She
just never spit. She didn't want to be a boy. That worked really well, I remember.
Yeah. I don't remember that moment, but I kind of remember her.
My parenting skills were very superior.
Well, but
Oh
look,
my
we did
God.
something right. Look what they're doing now. So we can't complain. Our kids are on fire. They're doing amazing stuff. So you did something right, darling. In spite of the spitting or whatever it was.
God,
Yeah.
that was a funny moment. I remember catching myself going, "Oh, you just told her she would grow a penis if she kept spitting," and it worked like a charm. So feel free to take that. It worked. Okay.
Okay.
Next one.
Now what?
Oh, this one's just kind of like,
Maybe
"Hi,
move on.
Lisa. I think you're great and fabulous. I'm Gianluca from Germany, but you can call me Gian or Lucas." That's cute.
Mhm.
My question for the podcast would be, how do you stay so fit and healthy? And what sweets does Harry eat the most? What sweets do you eat the most, Harry?
The only sweet that I eat is once in a while I'll have raisin oatmeal cookie after dinner.
Just once in a while?
Well, I have 2 cookies after
Just
dinner.
once in a while?
Yeah. Well, I have 2 cookies after dinner. I give myself that treat.
Just
I
just
treat
once
myself
in a
to
while?
what?
But let's talk about it, because you give me shit for getting my oatmeal cookies at Erewhon because you say they're too expensive.
Well, okay, so I get 12 cookies at Kroger or Ralph's for $3.99. You get 1 cookie at Erewhon for $5.99.
And
I get 12 for
enjoy it
$3.99.
as much as you enjoy yours, but you have made me feel like I can't buy them, but I still do because I don't care. I literally go, he's going to go, "Why are you buying these cookies?" And I go, "Because I like them." And I put them in my cart.
Well, and so when have I complained about your cookies other than saying
Every time I buy them
Buy
and
the-
you
I
look
say
in there
buy
and
the-
you go, "That cookie, I get 12 for $3.99 and you get 1 for $5.95. That's what you say.
well,
And mine is worth
that's
every
the truth.
fucking bite.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the dynamic here. Okay, the cookie wars, right? Are we
Yeah.
having cookie wars now? Okay.
Well, not really, but that's sort
but
of, yes.
so to answer his question,
You like
Jean's
those.
question
Yes.
is
Jean
what's-
or Lucas. You can call him either.
Jean. Well,
Jean
the sweets.
or Lucas.
Sweet thing, because I have hypoglycemia.
That's
another
right.
fun fact. I can't really eat sugar.
That's right. Only after a
I
meal.
can only have a little bit of sugar after I eat protein after a meal, which is
That's
why I
right.
have the cookies after food.
That's right. And that's
Yeah.
all the sweets you eat.
That's true.
That's it.
Yeah.
How do I keep fit and stay fit? What would you say?
I would
don't
say
know.
because you work out in some way every day.
Consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency.
What's your favorite workout these days?
Yoga.
Still, because I
Yeah.
haven't seen you go to yoga the last few weeks.
Well, I've been
Yeah.
sick. I haven't
That's
done
true.
anything.
You've had a little bit of an issue, right?
I've been
That's right.
sick. I've had issues. I'm coming off of the frickin'
So, but
halcyon.
yoga keeps you very fit, though. Yeah.
I think yoga,
Yeah.
of
And so good for your head too,
the
right?
workouts. Yeah,
Good
because
for-
you use your body weight, right? You use your own body. I think it's the hardest class. Here's another thing, guys. If you want to see if your class is doing the thing, like look at the people in the class and look
Oh.
at their bodies. And that will show you, like,
Whether the class is a good class or not, or whatever.
I think.
Well, yeah.
I
Hey,
think-
how about the fact that whenever I used to go, because you used to spin a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I would go
Soul Cycle.
sometimes. I would pick you up at spinning. This is years and years ago.
Yeah,
And I looked-
I've done every workout known to man, by the way.
And spinning was a big one for a while.
Big.
But I would go in there and I would see these really hefty people on the bikes. I mean, big people, and yet they were like sweating and they were going like that. But they were huge. And it occurred to me that they were burning so many calories during that hour-long session that as soon as they got out, they needed a cheeseburger. You know,
Well, maybe, but that's being very judgmental, Harry.
What?
You are
Well,
being very judgmental of an
they
exercise
were-
class.
Well, they were big.
Holy shit.
With the bikers
You're
were
rough.
big.
You are.
It was an observation. I saw that
Just don't name names, for God's
I
sakes.
didn't
People
name
are going
any
to come
names.
kill
I
you.
named no names.
Jesus.
But I did notice that demographically that the people in the spin classes were quite large. They weren't like you would think. The people in yoga classes are usually very thin.
Well,
very
that's why I
light.
always say, look at the people
Yeah.
in the class, and that can tell you whether because that's what you're going to look like if you stay in that
Right.
class.
And the same thing goes with a trainer. I remember when I was doing that show,
Yes.
Movie Stars, I hired a trainer to get me buff because I was playing this movie star. And I hired a guy who was like 5'8", and he was like a fire plug with big arms and big legs. And
I remember
big head,
him.
big neck like that. And it didn't occur to me that
That's
I
what
would
you're
end
going to
up
look
looking
like.
exactly like that. So after 6
Yeah.
weeks of working with this guy, I had a big neck. I couldn't fit in my clothes. I was like a fire plug.
I hate that.
So when you hire a trainer, take a look at him because that's what you're going to look like.
Yeah, I think it's finding the balance because if I work out too hard, then I'm starving and all I want to do is eat.
Well, that's the thing about the spin class. That's what I was saying. You work out too
Well,
hard,
I
you get
just said
starving.
it a lot better than you said it. I did.
Yes, you did.
I said it
I'll
a
give you that.
lot better than you said.
I will give you that.
So there's that. Another thing I was going to say about working out, I
Oh,
I lost it.
You lost it? Is it an age-related thing? No? Just curious,
Yeah. Let me think. We were talking about that. We're talking about working out.
Yoga. We're talking about...
Oh, I know what I was going to say. So recently, because I'm having some bone density issues.
Another age-related thing. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm in osteoporosis.
Right.
Which I'm not happy about. But that's the truth. You got to go get your bone density checked, and got my bone density checked, and I was in periosteoporosis.
You mean
Something like that.
That's like
Periosteoporosis, but now I'm in full osteoporosis.
So when you fell over the other day,
I could have broken something. It wouldn't have been good. I have to be careful.
Yeah.
Because now I have to go on one of those drugs that helps build my bone up.
Uh-huh. And didn't you say the insurance company's not paying for those drugs?
Well, yeah. There was a drug called Avenity that they wanted me to take. And then the insurance company was like, no, we're not going to okay that for you. It's taken like 6 months to get this figured out.
And so, are they going to they're going to pay for it?
Well, now they're going to pay for something where I have to shoot myself up every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like with a needle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in my stomach.
Oh.
For 18 months to 24 months to build my bone mass.
Really? And you're going to do it?
Yeah, you have to.
When?
They want you to.
When do you start on that?
I start like next week.
Wow.
So anyway, that's been a whole
thing.
thing.
Does it build your bones up so you like become
No,
like
it builds
Supergirl?
it doesn't build your muscle up, it builds your bones up. But in the meantime, my doctor said you need to start lifting heavy weights. Because I don't lift heavy weights, I do light weights. She's like, you really should lift
Like
heavy
how heavy?
weights. Like heavy weights.
Well, I mean,
like
how
machines
heavy?
and things.
So like 30, 40 pound weights, stuff like that? Really?
So I go to this trainer that specializes in that, building bone density. But I'm lifting like heavy weights, right?
When did you do this?
I did it for 3 months, twice a week. You were in
when I was working, when I was shooting,
Ireland.
I was shooting the show. So you were
but here, let me tell you the story. So I did it for 3 months. But what I have to say is lifting heavy weights does not go with Couture.
Oh.
It does not go with Couture. And so my vanity came in and said, nope, I rather break a bone than
So you were getting a big neck and you were getting big muscles.
Huge.
Yeah. Okay.
Thick.
Well, that's what happened to me when I was doing movie stars. I couldn't even get into my clothes.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I probably had strong bones, but it doesn't work for Couture, honey. So I stopped that shit. Stopped
okay.
it.
So now you've brittle bones, but looking really cute.
Real lean and trim.
Okay.
So that's that story. And then I'll shoot myself up with some drug that will build my bones for 18 to 24 months. And then I don't know. I probably have to stay on something. I don't know. It's a whole thing. It's like nobody tells you about this. I remember my mom taking something for osteoporosis because it's hereditary, clearly.
But isn't it something that women just, like all women get at a certain point?
At certain times. I'm a bit young to get it at this point. Usually you get it a little bit older. So that's why they're doing this bone building instead of just stopping it to where it is. They give you something that builds your bone back up.
I think I read something about how if you take calcium supplements or you drink a lot of milk, that it actually works opposite against it, right? Because your body then thinks it's getting plenty of whatever it is, calcium.
I don't know. We're not doctors, so please make sure you talk to your doctor before you listen to anything that we have to say.
More about it. Yeah.
We just have to make sure that we don't lead anybody down the wrong path.
No.
So even though we talk about this stuff, make sure you talk to your own doctors before you do any of the crazy shit that we do. How about that?
That works. That's a disclaimer.
That's a disclaimer. Yeah, that's called a disclaimer because we're not experts. We're just actors that like to think we are.
Yeah. I've never even played a doctor.
I haven't either.
No, I did actually on Shameless.
Oh, you did?
One time.
You were a doctor. You were a plastic surgeon.
I guess so. I
right?
forget what kind of a doctor I was, but
Yeah.
I was working with the same people who did ER, right?
John
with
Wells.
John Wells.
Yep.
And I remember,
So you were a doctor.
Yeah, and I had to say some of that gobbledygook, doctory stuff. And after I did it, I went up to John on the set and I said, John, I have so much respect for George Clooney and all the people you worked with on ER. They had to memorize this stuff. I mean, it's almost impossible to say that stuff, to memorize it.
I would have to write it on my hand.
You're not allowed to have any notes on his sets.
You aren't?
No, you can't have little. They have little things called sides on movie sets.
You can't have them?
No.
I hide my sides like in drawers and under paper and shit.
If you're caught with sides on any of his sets, you're fired.
Well, I don't think I'll be working for John anytime soon.
Oh.
I have to have it nearby.
No, Emmy Rossum, on the way, my very first day, we were driving from the base camp over to the set. And I didn't have any sides because there weren't any sides in the dressing room. And I said,
why aren't there any sides?
Why aren't there any sides in the dressing room? And they said, oh my God, no, you can't have any sides.
Sides are your script for the day. So you have like a little
small script that you can look at your lines in case you forget your lines. And everybody walks around with the sides.
I have to have mine close by.
Yeah,
otherwise, I won't be able to say my lines.
You'd be fired in a second if you were on John Wells' show.
Oh, well,
anyway.
I would figure it out.
Another question?
Yeah. Oh, this is a cute one. This is for you. Hi, my name is Claire from Buffalo.
Hi, Claire from Buffalo.
My question for the podcast is, what did Harry Hamlin enjoy the most about his time in Mad Men? He's brilliant in it. Thanks. Love to you and your family.
Oh, what a nice thing to say. That's
nice
so
question.
Great. And by the way, my family's from Buffalo. There's Hamlin Park. There's a whole bunch of Hamlin stuff detritus all over Buffalo because my family was really big, like at the turn of the century, the 20th century. They were a huge family in Buffalo.
Judges and things, right?
Yeah.
Lots of money.
Lots of money.
The
Buffalo Museum of Natural Science was funded, built, designed, and built by my grandfather. So if you've ever been to the Buffalo Museum of Natural Science, that's from my family. But anyway, so what on Mad Men?
What did you like? What was the question?
Okay.
The question is, what did you enjoy the most about your time on Mad Men?
Well, I mean, look, they let me create this character, Jim Cutler, that was not on the page.
So good.
I mean, and I went
you
up
were
to.
so good as Jim Cutler.
Well, thank you very much. I went to the executive producer, Matt Weiner, one day, and I said, this is before we started shooting, and I said, hey, Matt, who is Jim Cutler? I mean, give me some background on this guy. And he said, well, the only thing I can tell you is that he is continental. And then he walked away.
That's right. I remember you saying that.
So I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Who is somebody who's continental? So I go to the dictionary and I look up continental. As an adjective, it means of or about a continent. Okay. So that's something. So continental, I'm a continent. There's no such thing as like a person who happens to be continental. There's no like.
Yes, but it definitely, that
what does it
word
evoke? It evokes something. But what does it evoke?
I don't know, but it evokes something. It does.
Well, that was the only thing I got from him was I continental as Jim Cutler? Oh, there you go. So I achieved what I needed to achieve to be continental, which, ask me what the fuck that means. I have no idea.
Yeah, but you did it. That's all that matters.
Well, the writing was great on that show. And my most fun day ever was the day I dressed down John Hamm and called him a football player in a suit. Yeah, that was fun.
Fun.
Yeah, I had a great time doing that. And nominated for an Emmy, too. So
Great show.
I can't
And you were
complain.
so good.
Well, thank
But
you.
it'd been really fun to do that show.
It was. It was a blast.
And we still see some of the cast out and about. We saw Christina Hendricks
the other
night, who's so lovely.
Yeah.
And we'll run into John Hamm from time to time. Everybody was really nice on that show.
No, it was
really
a great
nice.
show. And I'll never forget that somehow my body type didn't fit any of the clothing that they had from the 60s, because everything had to be from the 60s. They had no new clothing, nothing new.
Oh, so it was literally from the 60s.
Everything had to be from the 60s. So they could never make my shirts fit because either my arms were too short or too long or whatever. So they had to make some shirts for me. And I'll never forget that Janie Bryant, who was the amazing genius costumer, who was also the wardrobe person on Mayfair Witches for season 1. But I went to Janie and she said, listen, we're going to have to build some shirts for you, but we have to find a bolt of cotton
That's
that was
old.
built in the 60s
Love
before
it.
we can build the shirts, because
Fantastic.
they wouldn't use a new bolt of cotton. It had to be a bolt of cotton that was manufactured. I know. I mean, they were so specific about everything on that show.
I know. You had to say every word correctly on the page, too,
Everything
didn't you?
had to be absolutely exactly the way it was on the page. Yeah, they were sticklers for that.
That's hard.
But the writing was fantastic, so why not? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I like to improvise sometimes on the set. And every once in a while you get on a show where you can improvise a little bit, but not all
there.
on Mad Men. No.
Well, like for the soap opera, for me, if I didn't improvise, I would have never gotten all my lines out.
Really?
Ever. Never.
Well, you had to memorize 40 pages of dialogue. I remember one night you came home, you said, Harry, feed me quick. I've got to memorize 40 pages of dialogue, because you were carrying the show at one point. And
well,
you were,
I was what do they call it? A front burner storyline. Burner.
Oh, you were the front burner.
Front burner storyline. So then you have so much. And I'll never forget, when you're working with the more seasoned actors who've been there for like 20, 30, 40 years, they have cue cards.
Right.
They have cue cards. Now, I never could work with a cue card. Like, I'm not trained that way. But to work with an actor who is literally looking here, they're talking to you like this, while you then have to look at them and talk to them.
Well, it's like Saturday Night Live. They use cue cards on Saturday Night Live. You can always see them looking over the shoulder, looking at the cue card, right?
The cue card.
And then how about like Brando, who always had a thing in his ear, and they fed him the lines because he didn't want to memorize. He couldn't or didn't want to memorize his lines.
Folklore,
like
who knows what it was? But everybody listen. Everyone has their way, but I'll never forget working with the actors that were looking at the cue cards and me just going, because I was like so young at the time and just trying to figure it out and just be like, okay, they're not looking at me and I got to talk to them now and I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And then there would be times where we would work, like we'd get there at 6 a.m. and you'd still be there at like 11 at night. I couldn't remember anything. And I was like, guys, you just are going to have to take whatever comes out of my mouth at this point. I can't even remember it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So you would just like whatever came out would be what it was?
Well, if it was close, because on a soap, you basically say the same thing over and over and over, just regurgitated for a year.
What, some
for an entire year.
Emotional thing that you say, like
whatever your story is and whatever's going on, you just say it 45,000 times because people are tuning in every day, and some people might have missed Monday, so they need to
have to kind of redo it every time.
Kind of have to restate what's happening every day, all the time. So you're basically saying the same thing for a year.
So you're doing exposition every day, the same exposition over and over again.
So I was finally like, listen, if it gets this close, can you take it? And they were like, yeah, we'll take it. So I improvised a lot on Days of Our Lives because I couldn't fucking remember my lines at that point.
Well, you had a lot of lumber. You come home, you get home at 6 p.m. and you say, I've got 40
cry.
pages. Yeah, you would
cry in the
bathtub.
bathtub.
Would come home. I would make spaghetti aglio peperoncino for you. Maybe I would give you a glass of wine. You'd take a bath. You'd come downstairs and you'd say, excuse me, you won't see me for the rest of the night. I've got to memorize 40 pages of dialogue.
Yeah. And I did that for 3 years.
Yeah, well.
And that's all I remember. It's kind of a blur. I really don't remember that.
So was LA Law was a blur for me. 5 years of my life. Just you could have snipped it out with scissors,
It's truly, you have to focus so much.
We worked, on LA Law, even though it was an ensemble, we worked until 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. Every week,
every Friday night,
because you had Fratter days, because the unions would allow you to work longer on Friday night because you had a day off on Sunday. You could still come in on Monday morning early at 6 a.m. If you worked until 3 a.m. on Saturday morning, somehow I don't know, it was crazy. Yeah. So that was 5 years of like I don't remember a thing.
Yep, I don't remember. I remember little bits of it. That's it. I remember my dressing room down in the dungeon. It's like down in the basement.
I remember going to that dressing room the day that Max was run over, and I had to go down there and tell you your dog had been killed.
Yeah, that was great.
Really, but it did bring us together.
It did.
Ever since that day, we've been together.
I know. Thank you, Max.
I guess so. Yeah. Thanks, Max. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in one more time to Let's Not Talk About the Husband, even though you did talk about me.
They keep talking about you also, by the way.
See you next time.